So one thing that I bring up a lot, if you've been following me very long, is that we don't all just want to have barren, minimal, cold spaces. I think it can be a really fine line to minimize your home and to create a space that is airy and roomy and doesn't have a lot of belongings, and really focus on creating that minimalist lifestyle and going overboard and creating a cold and sterile environment in the process. You don't want to have company come over and then think that you're secretly squatting in an empty house. Even nomads who travel the world and live out of a backpack don't typically live like that. They typically have some kind of accommodations to bring that backpack to. So today I want to talk about finding that line and ways that you can incorporate coziness and an inviting atmosphere into your minimalist home. This is something that I really try to be mindful of in my own space. I've gone definitely the other way around when I first started coming into practicing minimalism and learning how to live with less, one of the minefields that I fell into was that whole going bare bones. And it wasn't really a fulfilling or good feeling necessarily inside of my space. It was better than being surrounded by clutter, but it still didn't have that holistic supportive factor, which is why I teach here about clutter-free and holistic spaces. By the way, if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Mia, and I talk here all about holistic and clutter-free spaces. So if that's something that you're interested in, then be sure to go ahead and subscribe and turn on those notifications. Just a reminder, on April 9th, I'm going to be sharing my holistic clutter-free formula and a free masterclass that's going to be totally live. So that's going to be on April 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And I would love to have you join me. It's always a lot of fun when we're able to get together and do these live trainings. I only do that once or twice per year. So this is the first time this year, and I might have one more before the end of the year, but it really gives me a chance to spend time with you, which I really love doing, and also to answer any questions live when we have our live Q&A at the end. So go ahead and be sure to save your spot. I'm going to leave a link down in the description. Just click the link, fill out your information, and we'll get your spot saved. The people who do minimalism really well in their homes tend to have a similar common feature that they're using, like the secret sauce that they're kind of all using the same of. So if you're feeling a little bit stifled inside of your own clutter-free home, then let's talk about ways that you can incorporate this same cozy and inviting feeling inside of your space. One of the most important things that you can do to pull your home out of being too sleek and sterile and to add some coziness is to learn to play with texture. Texture is huge. If you take nothing else away from this video, learn to love texture. So what does that mean exactly? Well, basically use a variety of materials and shapes that pull your room out from being flat. In most rooms, this could be as simple as using a mixture of both cloth and hard materials like wood or stone. So throw pillows are another classic way to add some texture to the mix. Now, that means that you should be strategic with your throws. This is your chance to really make things pop and to make your minimalist home feel more inviting both visually and physically. But don't go crazy with the throw pillows. Of course, there is such a thing as too much. I would say 2 to 4 is probably fine for most rooms. Speaking of throw pillows, one way to add a lot of coziness and warmth into your space is by using throw blankets. Throw blankets are game-changing and are a super easy way to bring in new textures like chunky yarns, chenille, or even faux fur if that's your thing, just textures that probably aren't getting in other areas. And things like that really do add a nice cozy feature to an otherwise minimalist home. One of my favorite throw blankets right now is one that I keep on my office chair in my bedroom, and it's a really lightweight baby alpaca throw. It's just really a very unique material. It's soft and it makes me feel cozy every time I wrap up in it. Of course, I've also taken up crocheting blankets, so we have a lot of homemade blankets around my home, which also adds a nice heavy and personal mixture in the throw department. The third way that you can incorporate a little more of an inviting atmosphere and remove some of the sleek and sterile feelings of a room is by adding texture to the walls. Now, this is an area where you should really be simple and strategic. So don't bombard your walls and just call it texture. A simple painting or a few geometric box shelves can be nice to really pull your walls out from feeling flat and oppressive. So texture on the walls is also really great for decreasing the echo and sound bounce, so your home will even sound cozier. I've seen a lot of people hang up tapestry or just use some of the boho decor styles. I've even seen people use hats as decor for their walls, and that even worked as long as it's done in a strategic way. So things like that just really help to add texture to the room without adding necessarily more belongings that are being shoved in places. The fourth way that you can incorporate more inviting and cozy vibes into your home is to use a simple color palette. So if you're a red kind of person, then splash away in your decor, but try to just use a splash because those bright, overbearing colors on walls can have the opposite effect of inviting. So if you're trying to make your home more inviting, then you should reserve those colors for accents. Those bold colors make really great accents. And that's great because it'll really make that favorite color of yours pop in what would otherwise be like a muted room. So pick a handful of colors to work with. If you really like the monochromatic style, then maybe you just pick one or two. If you're more eclectic and you like vibrant splashes of colors, you can make your home however you want it to be, but just be intentional about the way that you disperse those colors instead of making it too overbearing by filling the entire walls with bright, bold colors. Colors that really invoke a sense of coziness tend to be softer colors. So warm colors like the taupes and the beige and the off-white, or even some of the cooler colors like certain tones of gray, can really just add a sense of coziness and calm and can make it a little more inviting than even the stark white walls. The color that I use here is a gray with like a hint of blue in it. So even though it's not one of the warmer colors, it's still very muted and lends to other colors that I want to bring out in splashes to really be able to stand out. The fifth way to really incorporate some coziness and inviting vibes into your space is to bring in natural woods. Natural woods are seriously the secret sauce for everything. I mean, technically you can bring in any kind of nature and that's going to bring in a nice, cozy and inviting vibe, but woods in particular are really warm and really cozy and give a sense of feeling grounded to the space. So we are humans. There was a time when we were not living in lavish, sterile homes, and our roots crave that nature, I think. So that's why using natural woods and stone and even pebbles as part of the foundation for our home design can be so appealing and feel so soothing. Of course, you can have these things and still tout a minimalist home. I mean, you're going to have something to make your home actually livable, so it might as well be something that's also going to rejuvenate you and bring in a little more of that cozy vibe in the process. This is great because you can have all of your walls, counters, and all of your cabinets be any shade of white that you like. As long as there's a decent use of wood in the mix, it's still going to feel softened and inviting. So maybe you don't have any in the structural building of the home that you live in. You could be in an apartment, and even if you own your own home, you might not be looking to remodel, but you can still bring in these natural woods through things like tables and desks and lamps, picture frames, bins, shades, you name it. One of my favorite pieces of wood in my own home is something that I've had for years. It's been a coffee table. Right now it's an entertainment center. It's been a display table from behind the couch. It has served many different purposes, but I really love the different grained colors of wood that flow in this table, and it just makes me happy. I feel like it adds a nice, grounding, sturdy feeling to any room that it's in. The sixth thing that you can do to make your minimalist home feel super inviting and open and spacious, but also cozy depending on how you use it, is light. So I'm a huge fan of natural lighting. I'm sitting right next to a big natural window right now, and honestly, the windows in this place were probably one of the biggest selling points for me. I think as humans, we all need light. Even if you don't like light, like a lot of people in my family would just as soon have all of the shades drawn and live in a cave for some reason. Even if you don't think you like light, your body loves light. We need light in order to keep away from depression and actually in order to really create a spacious home environment, because it can impact the way that the shadows fall across the room and the way the room feels. Now, if you don't have a lot of natural lighting, then that's totally fine. You can always buy the natural light bulbs. Now, how you use it and where you put those bulbs is going to make a difference. So if you're wanting to have a more calming, relaxing space to be able to read a book or wind down at the end of the day, side lighting is really great for that. I try to use overhead lighting as little as possible because I feel like it's a lot more oppressive and stark, kind of like being in an office building or something, especially if you have overhead fluorescent lights, and that can really start to wear on your eyes. So I try to use side lighting as much as possible. Now, if you really want to amp up the coziness, then you're going to want to bring in some golden toned lights. These are great to put in places like by your bed or reading nooks or office spaces, just depending on how you work best. A salt lamp, if you're looking for something just to help tone down the daylight vibrations at nighttime and get into that relaxed mode, salt lamps have a really nice orange kind of golden glow. Also, those golden Edison bulbs are not only attractive to look at, but they put off a nice, cozy, almost chic industrial type of vibe that can really help you to calm down and to get out of the brightness of the day. So whether you are looking at opening up the space and feeling awake and inspired and motivated to do things, which would be more of the bright lights and hopefully natural light if you have windows, or you're looking to wind down and just get cozy and read a book, which would be more of the golden and yellow colored lights, side lighting is generally going to be the best when it comes to feeling cozy and feeling inviting and just looking really nice inside of your space. And the seventh thing that you can do in order to really bring in inviting and cozy vibes into your home is to incorporate plant life. It adds a little more texture to the room, it adds a little more color to the room, and also it just adds this vibe of nature that we're all, again, really in tune with. So if you're really bad at growing plants like I am, you can get some of those benefits from fake plants. I've accepted that. I've incorporated a lot of fake succulent plants into my home because I still really like to see it. I just don't like to see them die. Or if you live in a place that's really freezing cold most of the year and it's really hard to grow natural plants, then again, you can maybe incorporate some kind of natural looking artificial plants into the mix. Now, as a bonus, you can of course always do things on your own in the way that you live inside of your home that also increases the coziness of your space. So for example, I almost always have some kind of warm cup of coffee or something warm to drink. These little guys just make me feel so cozy. I don't go anywhere without them. I don't walk to my own kitchen without my house shoes on. I don't walk to my own bathroom, which is literally right outside my door and carpeted all the way, without these cozy little house shoes on. In fact, if I go somewhere like camping or to a hotel, I'm bringing the house shoes with me. So there are different ways that, of course, you can incorporate your own version of coziness inside of your home and kind of make it a little more personal and cozy for you. But if you're looking for ways to overall make the entire bones of your home feel more cozy and more inviting, then I do recommend that you start with the list of 7 things that we just went over. Just one last reminder, on April 9th, I'm going to be offering a free live workshop that's called My Holistic Clutter-Free Formula. I only offer these live once or twice a year, so it's really exciting when I get to actually get with you guys and have conversations in the chat. There'll be a chat box. I'll be answering any questions at the end of the Q&A. So I would love it if you would join us live. I'm going to leave the link to be able to join that down in the description box. And we're going to talk about ways that you can get the clutter out easily. We're going to talk about how you can create a home space that feels supportive and holistic to you. And it's just going to be totally worth an hour to an hour and a half of your time. I will chat with you next week and have a great one.